Good Monday to you all out there. How you doing today? What's going on, everyone? Thanks for being here with me, and welcome to the beginning of the week. Please hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button down below. Then you will be a part of this group, or something like that. You know. Man, what's been going on? Man, so last night, man, I was talking with my brother last night for a little while because, we haven't spoken to each other in like a month maybe, something like that. And we really don't like to, a month is a little long for us, you know? We try to call each other as much as we can here and there. Um, but just things between in his life and my life, family life, it just kind of, shit gets all over the place, and sometimes you just don't have enough time to get at each other, and plus the time difference. He's in El Paso, I'm here. It's a 3 hour difference or whatever it is. 2.5 hours, 3 hours. I don't know, man. I'm not good with math, you know. But I was talking to him last night, and he said that he had listened to the last episode, and the next thing you know, or the next thing he knew, or the next thing someone knew, is you know, he was listening to it, and then it got him motivated, man. It got him motivated to doing some of that spring cleaning himself, you know. And while he was doing some of this, while he's just seeing around, I guess, if you want to say that, he ran into one of those old baseball books, you know, the ones that they had, it was like they had those little like plastic sleeves in them, and you'd slip, some of your best cards in the front, just so when someone cracked that thing open, they'd be like, "Ooh, look at that! That's damn Mark McGuire." And his legs and his arms look like the size of an oak tree. You know? Oh, look at that. That's old Frankie Tom. That's Frank Thomas in there. That's the big hurt. You know? Oh, look at that. Look at what you got. You got a Tom Glavine in there? Ooh, boy. You are making it happen. And then, of course, you get to the middle of the book and you're like, who's PJ Atwater? And 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 he doesn't even play baseball, dude. He looks like he just, it looks like he is he a jockey or what? Like, what is this dude? Like, why is he in here? And you're like, oh shit, man, I forgot that was, I was supposed to take that out a long time ago, but those, you know, every kid, every boy, I guess, had that at one point in time, and I remember, visiting my grandparents in New York. They had a lake house up there. So, we used to go up there, every so often on the summers. And they had this one neighbor kid, and I can't remember his name, Jason or Brian or fucking Elvis or something like that. I don't know. Something like some basic ass white name. You know what I'm talking about? Harold or Billy. You know what I'm talking about? Billy. That sort of thing. But so he would his dad, I think, was I think his dad played in the minor leagues for a little bit, at one point in time in his life, but we would go up into his attic, all the kids around there and everything, and you would see the whole attic. I mean, just probably bigger than this room, of course, but the attic was full. All you saw was baseball cards, some of them in the big long sleeves, still wrapped up. You know, he had baseball pictures everywhere and gloves signed by major league players and just, the whole shebang, baby, the whole thing. When I saw this for the first time, I just wanted to freaking pitch my ball bag into some swampy water and just let a damn large mouth damn bass just gobble up on those bitches for a little while. Cause and just let that be his last meal, I guess, or whatever. But thing is, I was so jealous of what he had, because this was years and years and years of collecting. And when you're at that age, when you're 8, when you're 9, and you just buy a pack of baseball cards, the first thing you want to do is crack that little sleeve open and see what kind of magic you got out of it. And then in the end, you chew on that gum that wasn't even gum. It was just like chalk dust torture almost. You just fucking stick that piece in your mouth and you're just trying to, and it felt just like you were just chomping on, homemade bricks or something like that. It was like stale as fuck, and you're just like, God, what? This doesn't. What is this? What's in this? Mine tastes like damn crab. I mean, what is this shit? And why do they keep distributing it out to us? It's probably like, half a penny to make, but they're like, we'll just feed these kids into, we'll just let them rot out uh, their mouth display. These little white Tic Tacs. We'll just send those out and see how that goes. But dude, I was so jealous because, since he had started collecting all these cards so long ago, and I at this point in time, I just started collecting. I was only like maybe 4 or 5 months into this thing, and I knew which baseball players were who and which ones were good. And this is about the time when the Atlanta Braves had their squad going on, and the White Sox, back in black, baby. You know what I'm talking about? Them White Sox. Hats off to them. I think they're doing quite well this season, but hey, it's just the beginning. So, but so I just started collecting these cards and everything. So I didn't have much, and he had everything. But so my brother, he was, he was just saying that he was, going through his old, going through these old, books, I mean, they could have been, trapper keepers, or they could have been made of trapper keepers, or maybe, man, I'm trying to remember what they were called. Binders, baseball binder books, or whatever you want to call them, right? But he was going through those and everything, and he said he had, like, like 9 of these things, and they're like 100 pages full or whatever. But then he got to this one in particular, and he, as he opened it, it was filled with garbage pail kids. Yeah, do you remember those things? Do you remember those garbage pail kids? They came out in like the, they came out in the late 80s, maybe I guess, and they were like if, the Cabbage Patch Kids had a bunch of, I don't know, incestual cousins that like to do all sorts of naughty things, and they would take like, old kid names or whatever, old kid names, and use them in a sort of like weird word play on the front of the card, right? And so they would take a name mm, like Adam, you know, like Adam. And they would show this cat just sitting on like a street or some sort of, plateau or whatever. And Adam, it would show, they would show Adam, like blowing off his head or whatever, you know? And so they would call it something like, the atom bomb or something like that, because Adam would be holding like a little device or whatever, and then he, so because that was the device to like make his head go, you know, like to peel his wig back or whatever you want to call it, so. Or they would have something like traveling Travis, and you'd see some boy that looked like he was getting like peeled off of like a tire from a Chrysler LeBaron or maybe a Nissan Sentra or something like that, and or maybe like an 18 wheeler or something like that, and his guts would be like all on the concrete, and he'd be like, ah, bah, ah, right? And but these were, but these cards were, these cards are something that you just didn't at the time. You didn't go to school with them, because if a teacher saw those, they'd be, they take them from you, and then the next thing you know, they call your parents, and when you got home, your parents would beat your ass. That's what they would do. They'd beat your ass because that's what they did in the 80s and in the 90s. That's what 80s, 90s parents did. They beat the shit out of you. You did something fucked up like egging a house or maybe spray painting someone's car, something like that, and your parents found out about it. Bah! Ooh, they beat your ass. That's what they just did. Nowadays, you can't do that sort of thing. You get, the Homeland Security of Walmart or something like that. You get a couple police officers, some off-duty police officers chewing tobacco and everything. They'd they'd come over there and slap the cuffs on your parents so quickly, that you wouldn't even have parents at the end of it, But back then they didn't care. They'd beat your ass and and they didn't care. Again, they didn't care who was around, because 80s, 90s parents, those were the OGs of that. That's what they were. They were the OGs. They were the original gangsters, of beating that ass. They wouldn't care if, they wouldn't care where they were when they spanked the shit out of you. I mean, they'd hit you right in front of a police officer. And the thing is, the police officer back then, they'd probably help. They'd probably handcuff, they'd probably handcuff your hands while your mom and dad just kick the shit out of you in the damn, shopping cart. You want that, you want to eat that chocolate bar, bitch? Bah, you think it's funny to empty out all the cereal on top of your brother's head? Bah, ah. And the police officer's like, give him one more. Give him one more. But yeah, man, that's just how it went. That's how the time went, But yeah, you'd get sent to the principal, and we had this one principal at one point in time that we didn't like, man. So So what we did was, we taped some baloney all over her car, and we let the sun just beat down on it, just fizzle fry that shit right on it, and and that piece of welfare steak would eat at the paint, because that's what bologna does. So once she got out of school and she saw her car, you know, slam packed with all this duct tape and baloney that, all this duct tape's holding all this baloney on it and everything. Once she, you know, unleashed that, those slabs of, you know, those slabs of steak, the rib cut steak or whatever you want to call the damn bologna, whatever bologna is, right? Um, once she did, it ate at the paint so bad that she drove around with a polka dotted car for about a month, And let me tell you something. Rumors around school traveled so fast. About, did you hear? Did you hear about who put the bologna on Miss T's car? Did you hear that? Did you hear that? This, that, and the other? And then all of a sudden, it got back. It got back to one of my friend's dads. One of my friends, Danny. And Danny, this kid Danny, he took part in some of the taping, And so he was called up to the principal's office, and the next thing we knew, Danny came into school, and his dad came in there, and I'll tell you one thing, Danny, once he got into the car and all that stuff, guess what happened? His dad whipped his ass, and then drove off. And after that, we knew Danny's dad didn't play with that shit anymore, man. And I'm sorry for the horrible vocabulary today. I'm just, I got a lot of stuff in my mind right now, but and sometimes that's the only way for me to get through it. So sorry my vernacular is not as stellar as it should be, but sometimes you just gotta say F it, but anyways, so my brother found those garbage pail kid cards, those GP cards, and so I told him, man, he should look that stuff up. He should look up, because my brother, he's a stay-at-home, self-employed, retired, manic depressive mental patient, pretty much, and so he stays, a lot of his time is at home, is at the golf course and at home. But so I told him, since he has some extra time on his hands, that he should probably, look up what the value of these things are. And so he did, man, and he got back to me, like at damn 1:00 this morning, and was like, you won't believe it, but one of these is worth $1,000. And I'm like, hot damn, bro, that's no way, $1,000. Well, which one is it? Like which great, which one, and he said, he didn't want to relinquish which one it was, because he thought somebody was listening in on our conversation or something like that, whatever he was thinking. But he said it had it was like a bat, like a kid that looked like a bat or something like that, Brian Bat Montana or something like that. But yeah, I couldn't believe it, man. But at the same time, I was just, the thought was like, That's so cool. That's kind of cool because, for one, I can't believe he still has all that stuff. You know, all that stuff, you know, just from like childhood stuff. You know, because a lot of us, we don't have that anymore. We tend to throw things away because maybe it's not maybe it's not cool. It's not the cool thing anymore, or you grow up, you grow up out of liking a certain thing, or maybe it's because you just don't want people thinking that that you're still like on the immature side of things, and sometimes, man, when I think about that, man, I think about, I look at some people every so often, some of these guys that like to punk kids or punk people and just do like, you know, just do dumb shit like that, trying to stir up fights and all that other stuff. And there's no need for it in the first place. But I always think about how these people, these adults at one point in time, they were only, they were little. They were an infant. They were a baby. You know, like that's all they are. You know, even when I look at them as an adult, I'm like, you're still a little niño. That sort of thing. And I'm like, and then it makes me wonder how these people end up the way that they do. And I know that's just life and other influences and everything. You know, but like growing up, a lot of people, um you get influenced by so many other outsiders that you tend to forget, um you tend to forget to think for yourself sometimes, man, because you want to fit in, so and then you come to figure out as you get, older, you kind of find out that, that all that shit doesn't, like the high school stuff, trying to be in the cool crowd and this and that. It's like all that shit just doesn't matter, man. It doesn't matter, and you should just do you, And don't get me wrong, I've fallen faulty on that sort of thing too. I've done some stuff that I probably shouldn't have, to other people, and I look back at it and I just feel like a fucking jackwagon because of it, and 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 that's just because I was just trying to get in with, I don't know, trying to get in with the in crowd, I guess. And sometimes that in crowd is more of an out crowd. And sometimes you kind of give up yourself to try to, be something that something that you just aren't, babe. That's it, man. Just something that deep down inside yourself that is not, that's not you, dude. You know? But um but yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I guess just, there's stuff from my childhood that I wish I still had, cuz like my brother keeping those books and everything, If he would have tossed those, he would have never had those items. He would have never gotten them back, you know? Um and especially when you're fucking growing up poor, dude. That's I mean, that's the boat that I've been, drifting in for when I was, little, and probably now as an adult, but a couple things come to mind, growing up poor that I wish that I hadn't either thrown away or sorry. Hadn't thrown away or hadn't lent it to somebody, and then they moved, and now they got it, and that was just. But there's a couple things, that come to mind that I wish I could have back, you know. A a couple comic books, you know, a couple comic books because I enjoy drawing, you know. I mean, I do, man. That's what this shit is on the wall right here. I don't know if you can see that, but I mean, hey, how about this? Let me grab something. Here's something, you know. Uh, here, like like Batman, you know. I don't know if you guys can fucking see that or not, but you know, sorry about the glare and all that stuff, but you know. And here's a little John Wiki Wick for you. Uh-oh, that's upside down and shit. So I don't do well I don't do well at math or do well, you know. But anyways, um but and hell, man, at that point in time, with the comic books, I wish I would have kept some of my drawing books too, you know, so I could go back and look at that sort of stuff. I wish I would have collect my He-Man collection, and I used to do flatland BMXing and everything, and I had a Dave Mira bike at one point in time that I don't have anymore. My first fucking goalie stick, I used to play ice hockey and everything, and my first goalie stick I found at a Salvation Army, and I had that shit for years until it broke during a game. But man, that's one thing that I wish I had, because after that one, there just wasn't another one like it, you know. And I don't know if you guys have ever had something like that. You think the newer one is going to be better than the older one, but it's not at all. It's like it's something that nobody in the world can put a price on. Because it just has that sentimental value to it. And that was also because, since we were so poor and everything, I couldn't even afford a goalie stick. So because I was a goaltender, and and shit, man, the first 2 years of playing, I didn't even have any damn skates, I'm just out there running around in shoes and stuff, and I had to borrow pads from other players and other teams, and because that stuff's so expensive, and but I valued and appreciated it all, so much more than anybody else, because I didn't have it the same way that everybody else had it, and I don't know. I just, growing up and everything now, I value everything that I have. I cherish the shit out of it, even if people make fun of me for what it is that I like or anything like that. Like, I don't care. Let them, let them, and then let them look back at the things that they wish that they still had, because you know what? Deep down, by themselves in some dark room or whatever, in their thoughts, I guess that's the dark room. I'm sure that they do think back and wish that they still had some of those childhood, just childhood, what's the word that I'm looking for? I don't know. Just some of their childhood stuff, man, But anyways, I don't know how or why, I don't know how we got onto that sort of thing, but I don't know. Anyways, man, if you guys don't know what the Garbage Pail Kids are, you guys better get in there, figure it out. All right. One thing that I want to talk about last week that we didn't get into because I wasn't here, of course, was, and it's probably an old topic by now, but dude, OJ bit the dirt. The juice got squeezed. You know what I'm talking about? The murderer, I guess people that murder probably die from cancer, you know? And I'm not saying everybody, but uh some, I'd probably say about I don't know the statistics, but I'd say 42.8% of murderers die from some sort of cancer, you know. And like OJ, dude, like I was so young, man. So young with what he did with football, so I didn't really get to see that sort of thing. I remember him from the Naked Gun movies, that you know, him getting, wrecked every single scene that he was in. He stirred up some comic relief, which was enjoyable. But the one thing I do remember more than anything about OJ was, I think it was, man, when was the OJ thing? 94, 95, something like that. Last night, or not last night, but over the weekend, my Orlando Magic, baby, they're in the playoffs. They are in the playoffs. And this team is not that bad, but I only watch the NBA playoffs if they're playing. And but back then, man, I remember visiting Washington or wherever we were at the time, and so we were staying in this old hotel, and we were watching the playoffs against the Rockets and I think the Knicks, if I'm not mistaken, and Olajuwon and I think Anthony Mason, maybe. I think so. I don't know, but they were about to do that Mike Tyson Buster Douglas dance right in the middle of the fucking court. And then all of a sudden, breaking news. OJ Simpson is on a police chase. And every channel that you switch to, there's OJ's white Bronco. And it's just flying through. I think he was in Los Angeles. Again, I was only like 12 at the time. 12, 11, something like that. And I'm like, what's going on? Huh? It's damn 11. It's 11 o'clock right now. And you got no, put the game back on. I don't, who cares about this? Who's OJ? Who's OJ Simpson? Like what? And then sure enough, he murdered his wife. He's running from the cops, and he's a part of the Nicole Brown murder, and whatever her little jalapeno, whatever the guy's name was, what that gigolo dude, whatever his name was, but the next thing you know is like you're trying to flip channel from one channel to another channel, and it just engulfed everything. It was almost like the president of the United States just got assassinated somehow, But this time, the president is an ex-football player that supposedly is going to be put on trial for murdering his wife. And the thing is, man, I don't know. Like when you look at that, when you go back and you look at that glove, man, I don't know if someone put it in the dryer or maybe in an oven or something like that and got that bitch real tight to where he couldn't even, it didn't even look like he tried to even try to put it on really well. Like he was just like, this is not, what is it? It's not my size. I don't even know what this is. And you're like, dude, try harder. Try harder. And then the next thing you know, man, that court, again, I was so young that I don't remember, I don't know any of the legality of things or what constitutes this or anything, I'm not practicing law. I'm 12 years old or whatever, and then the next thing you know, man, that trial went on for, jeez, like a year and a half or 2 years or something like that. And then the next thing you know, now the time comes, and the verdict's in, and then all of a sudden they announced O.J. Simpson. What? He is acquitted of all of all charges or whatever. And my goodness, the next day, I thought it was gonna be, because at that point in time, I think I was living in Georgia at the time, so it was crazy down there. I mean, it wasn't Rodney King crazy, but it was everyone thought it was a race issue and that sort of thing. And it was, no, we're just trying to fucking see if this guy murdered these people, you know? And the thing is, you kind of saw from some of the black community, you're kind of like, "Grr," and like you ask them, did OJ do it? They're like, no. And you're like, wait a second, do that again? And they're like, no. No. But they knew. And I think to this day, everyone still thinks that guy should have been sentenced to life. And, I mean, and it's not, and this isn't me talking about it for my personal opinion or anything. I'm just saying, like, this is what people thought. And then the next thing you know, he gets hit with, later on in his life, he gets hit with the damn charges for his memorabilia. Then he gets, I mean, really, truth to be told, he was supposed to go to jail for like 33 years and he only served 9 years out of it. So really, he would have died in jail. And also at the same point in time, I don't think anyone gives a fuck about OJ anymore. Not just because he's dead, but it was like, man, like, okay. But it is kind of strange. It's so strange because since I was so young and that sort of thing, that now, when a famous person, dies at, I mean, damn, man, once, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a famous person right now that was, when Quentin Tarantino, when he bites the bullet and that sort of thing, everyone's going to be like, or I don't want to say bites the bullet. Maybe you can't say that now. When he whispers off to another land or whatever, I'm sure that there's going to be some 8 or 13-year-old or something like that was like, who's Tarantino? And who cares about this guy? And I guess that's just the way life goes, but yeah, R.I.P. OJ, and yeah, I mean, it's the hard knock life right there, I guess, but man, what else is going on? Oh, so, my brother also, showed me this one thing last night, or he sent it to me, and he said, what do you think about this shit, huh? And I was like, woo, you got my ears and my mind burning. What's up? And he sent me this thing, and it's titled, Woman Who Married a Ragdoll Admits Their Family Life is Complicated After She Had Twins and Says Her Husband is Stressed About Providing for the Family. I'm like, what did you just send to me, bro? Like, what is this? So apparently, all right, in this strange news article, a woman married a rag doll with whom she shares 3 toy children with. This 37-year-old, I'm going to leave her name out of it, but this 37 from Brazil previously hit the headlines for revealing details of her relationship with Marcelo, a life-sized ragdoll and their ragdoll kids, including 1-year-old Marlesino or Manachino or something like that, and the 2 newborn twins. And I was like, what? What's going on? And then and then sure enough, man, he sends me the article, of course, but you should take a look at this. It is unbelievable. She says, it's not easy, but at the same time, I get emotional every moment, every second. In everyday life, Marcelo and I have lots of tasks with these new babies. Holy crap. Like, dude. All right. This right here, guys, I'm going to show you this, and you probably got to look it up for yourself, but hot damn. Oh, I don't know if you could see that. Look at this. And I'll post something up on there. She's married to this rag doll. And you're like, what in the freaking Sam Hill is going on with our society now? What? And this information is coming out of like what? Where do you the daily something? I don't even know what this is. It doesn't say. Huh. Well, I'm sure if you looked up Brazil 37-year-old oh boy. I'm telling you. Dude, this is just Oh, and they actually had a wedding. They had a wedding and real people showed up to this thing. Can you imagine showing up to a wedding and saying, "Well, where's the groom?" And he's just over there sitting on the couch looking like this. And it's like, "Here, Angela, I want you to meet Marcelo." And see and then him just well, okay, nice to meet you, Marcelo. That's just so freaking strange. Oh my gosh. Like, this whole thing is just, man, I don't know. This is where I'm like, okay, our society is just, look, I don't care what you do behind your own closed doors and that sort of thing. I don't care if you're gay, straight, purple, off white, whatever. I don't care. I don't care if you want to change your sexual preference to this or that. But when you start marrying and thinking that a stitched pillowcase with a face that's been drawn on it and has some googly eyes on that shit, is an actual human being that's going to show you something, to show you that emotional tie is, I don't know, man. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Maybe it's just something that I just can't get. But hot damn, dude, at least put like a fucking voice box or something in there. Something, one of those old toy kids that, a speak and spell or something like that. To where you could be like, "Hey, Marcelina, how are you doing today?" Hey. Oh, hey, that's right. Hey, I guess you're doing okay, huh? Well, what do you want for dinner? Z. What? ZD? Shoot, I was thinking the same damn thing. We are a match made in heaven. I mean it. I don't get it. I don't get it, but you guys should look that shit up. So, but Oh man. Well, guys, going on 44 or 45 minutes, something like that, But I'm gonna break out of here. I just wanted to say, happy Monday more than anything. And I hope you guys that man, if you guys still have some of your childhood stuff, man, don't throw that stuff out. You know? You know, just like that makes an impression. That's an impression. That's who you are. That's what you used to like. That's probably what you still like. You know? Just because you're 56 years old and everything doesn't mean that you have to stop collecting, you know, anything. You know? Fucking you do you, man. And don't let any of these outside influences, affect, who you are and what you're about, dude. You know? Because that's just going to leave you in a whole other space that you just don't want to be in, man. So, but anyways, check out the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs. Go Avs, go Avs. But let's see. I want to see if Orlando can get by Cleveland. So, anyways, all right, guys. Have a good week. Stay true to yourselves, and Oh, I keep saying that we're gonna get a guest in here, and we're working on it. I just tried to get. Oh, I have to. Well, the producer that's going to come in here again, my buddy Bobby Digi. He's got to get some personal stuff worked on too, so he can get in here. But we're gonna have someone in here, probably towards the end of this month, I would say. So we look forward to that, and that's what I got, man. So, all right, everyone. Again, stay true to yourselves, and I'll see you next time.